Good morning, and it really is morning. It is November 24th, 2020. There's some good news going on, but I'm going to do something a little different today. This is Carrie Freeman. I'm Carrie Freeman. I'm the writer, producer, director of this video site called My Left Ear. And much of this has to do with some politics and psychic predictions and the psychic coaching that I do. And I have about 9 videos up so far. I have been hearing from people that would like to know a little bit more about the therapeutic hypnosis that I do. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. But just to introduce, this started out as a Biden-Harris support site, and now that's been handled. And now I've moved this to the John Ossoff Reverend Warnock site because we must get them voted into the Senate. So that's all about politics today. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what I've been doing for almost 20 years, which is therapeutic hypnosis, and also known as hypnotherapy. But it's the use of the hypnotic state to help people attain goals, move past negative mindsets, attitudes, desensitize to difficult people, bosses, increase confidence, help with sleep, take tests, audition. It helps with performance anxiety, so many things. When I set up my website for hypnotherapy a long time ago, I wrote a description of it. And that website, if you're curious to see more about my therapeutic hypnosis work, is simply carriefreeman.com. And you can read a lot. There's a lot on that website, a lot of information. But I want to just read to you what I wrote because it's really good. I don't know if I can do any better. Hypnosis is a profound state of focus and calm where deeply rooted unwanted behaviors on the unconscious level are revised and tailored to your specific goals. It's a collaborative process, meaning I really work with you. I really need your input and information. And it is conducted in a serene environment where the client is always aware, safe, and in control. There's a little bit of a myth that I or anybody that does therapeutic hypnosis can control you or make you do something you don't want to do. And it's just not possible. Even when you're in the hypnotic state, as I always tell my clients, especially the first time, you're going to get very relaxed, but you're not going to be frozen. You can move, you can shift your body, you can move your hands. But if anybody wants to stop the session, all they have to do is hold up their hand. So that's a deal I make. And no one's ever stopped a hypnotic session. So, but I feel like the most important thing is to make people comfortable. So how it starts is somebody calls me with an issue. And sometimes the issues are pretty simple and sometimes they're very deep. They can be about an addiction to sugar. There could be relationship issues. I had a woman call me, she was getting married and she had a terrible habit of biting her nails to the nub. And so of course she wanted to fix that before getting married and having a ring put on her finger. And I'll tell you what, my training was really great training at a place called HMI in Tarzana, California. And basically, once you have that training, you can pretty much address everything. So I had not worked with anybody on fingernail biting before. And she came in and we were done in 3 sessions. She was done biting her nails in 3 sessions. So that's how it can work. I also help people quit smoking, which I happen to love to do because both my parents were heavy smokers. I hated it. And I just feel like it's a wonderful thing to help people get off of cigarettes. I have a very high success rate with it because I interview people for a good 20 minutes before I take them on as a client to make sure they're really ready and they want to do it. And I have told people, I don't think you're ready. I don't want to take your money because I don't want to fail, and I don't give money back. If I gave money back for people who didn't quit smoking, I'd have, people around the block trying to quit smoking. It doesn't work. They have to have the incentive. But that is done in 3 sessions, 3 consecutive weeks in a row. And I took some special training in it, and I have some really great techniques. So that's a pleasure. I once worked with a woman quitting smoking. She was single. She liked to drink wine. She was beautiful. She attracted people, and she went to Paris. And I got an email that said, Carrie, I just got back from Paris, and I did not smoke 1 cigarette. And considering that most everybody smokes in Paris, that was wonderful. And I said, can I put that in an ad? And she said, of course. And then I did help a gentleman in Chicago, long distance, in the middle of winter, quit a 3-pack a day habit. That took 4 weeks, but we did it. So that just kind of gives you an idea. So how it starts is somebody calls me with an issue, and I say, let's talk. And I get a profile of the person and what they're dealing with, and if I feel like I can help them, I set up the appointment. And the first appointment is 90 minutes. And they come in, and, well, now it's on Zoom, for the most part. And we just talk. I get a history. I find out about their background. We talk in depth about the issue. And on that first session, I talk about hypnosis, and I explain a lot of things to them. I explain how they're going to feel when I do that hypnotic part. So I take a lot of notes, and what's creative about this process is while I'm taking notes, I'm also using note cards. I don't have any in front of me right now, but just regular square note cards. And as I get ideas about what I want to say to them in the induction, I'm writing notes. And the reason the note cards is because paper makes sound when I'm recording, and I don't want any sound. So I sit there with my note cards as I'm recording, and there's no sound. Now, our brains are estimated at 12% is very cognitive. It's decision making, it's evaluating, it's doing our business. But then 88% of this brain, this tank up here, is the subconscious mind, and it is loaded. It's where we have our history, our good experiences, bad experiences, our spirituality, our habits, if we have addictions. They're in that subconscious, and that's where I go to get results. So the brain wants to avoid pain. Now that sounds very logical, right? We all want to avoid pain. However, what the subconscious deems as pain is anything that's not familiar. So something might be very good for your life, but if it's not experienced, it's off-putting. I don't want it. And I'm just going to give you like a very obvious example. I worked in a rehab for 8 years, and I did hypnotherapy and coaching with people that were struggling with addictions, all kinds of addictions. And what I do was just an addendum. Hypnosis cannot stop or fix drug and alcohol addiction. I want to make that clear. But it was a great addendum and able to help people sleep and give them relaxation techniques and all kinds of stuff. So let's say a young guy is sitting in front of me and he's detoxing from heroin, which happened many times. Now, this guy, that 12% of his brain, he knows he should not be doing heroin, whether it's snorting it or mainlining it. He knows it. But the subconscious, so he's sitting in front of me and he's in bad shape and he's detoxing. And his subconscious is saying, dude, where's the white stuff? It's time for the white stuff. Where is it? But the 12% is sitting in a rehab and knows he shouldn't be doing it. So there's an old pathway that's familiar. And what I end up doing, this is how I like to describe it. Another hypnotherapist might describe it completely differently, so I want to say that. But this is, after many years of doing it, this is how I describe it. We've got an old neural pathway, and I go in and I start to weaken and collapse the old neural pathway that's doing the things that you don't want to do, like biting your nails or shopping too much or eating too much sugar. And I create the new pathway, which is very pleasurable. It's very easy. Oh, that's nice. So the subconscious is going, wow, I like that. That feels good. And through repetition, because repetition is a part of the hypnotic process, this new neural pathway is put into place. And that old one is collapsed. The repetition, by the way, is something that dictators use and our soon-to-be ex-president has used. The repetition, the repetition, the repetition. But it's all done, to the negative. This is done as a healing process to help people. And when we get to the hypnosis part, which is only about 15 minutes, I explain how you're going to feel. I do a little prep I do eye movement and some other kinds of techniques to relax people, relax the brain, and they lay down. And I record. And I record for about 15 minutes, and it's very much about that person. It's not about anybody else. That's what makes it special. It's about Joe, if I'm working with Joe. Nobody else can listen to Joe's tape because it's about Joe. So it's very personal, and that's one of the things that makes it work, and that's what I love about it. And I email the recording the next day. Now, when people show up for a session, I would say everybody is stressed and they're in the fight, freeze. That's a hard one to say. Fight, flight, freeze. Because a lot has built up by the time someone has come to hire me and work with me. And the fight, flight, freeze can happen through shock, trauma, loss. It can happen through chronic abuse or self-abuse. And when people leave here after the first session or on Zoom, they feel remarkably better, refreshed, because they're back in their body. All the lights are on, everybody's home, and I have drained the fight, flight, freeze out of them. And this gives them the idea, oh, wow, this was great. I really slept last night. I'm going to go back and work on this issue. And most issues don't take a long time, to be honest with you. That's one of the wonderful things. And I have also worked with clients who work at the same time with a psychologist, and that can really speed up results. Or I just work with people individually. And when I talk to people, I give them an idea. I think you should plan on 6 sessions. It's not exactly a science, so I can't know for sure, but my instincts are very, very good. And the left ear really kicks in. So when I'm talking to someone, I just start to get it and get it and get it. And in these sessions, I find I know things about people. But what I discovered is that when people come for hypnotherapy, they really don't want psychic information. They're not asking for it. And I learned to keep my mouth shut. I lost a client this way once because a man came to me and he talked a lot about his girlfriend. His heart was being broken. And I told him some things about his girlfriend that were true, but I kind of freaked him out. And he said, "You're right. Like, are you psychic?" And I hadn't even started this yet. So I thought, I need to split these things off because the hypnotherapy clients are not here for psychic coaching or a psychic reading. What it feels like when you're lying on the sofa and I'm doing all the talking because you're quiet, you receive. I don't require anything. I don't ask people to answer questions. I do all the work when I'm recording. It feels like guided relaxation but it's much deeper. It's much more than that. But that's what it feels like. And people will go in and out of consciousness. Like they start out and they're really listening to me, and then maybe they start thinking about, did I feed the dog when I left the house? And that's completely normal. It actually means you're relaxed. So your mind wanders and it comes back. And that's why I record it, so nothing can be missed. And people will say, oh, I heard the recording, and I didn't remember that you said this, and I didn't remember that you said that. It was great. And then the last thing I want to say is, this is all confidential and private. So I have worked with some well-known people, never to be discussed, never to be mentioned. It's all private and confidential. I've also worked with children. I've worked with 8, 9, 12 years old. And I said this on a previous recording, that when I was working 8 years at the drug and alcohol rehab, people were just assigned to me. They didn't choose me or call me or pay me. They were just assigned to me. So they come in, they fold their arms and go, I can't be hypnotized. I can't be hypnotized. I go, okay, relax. You can let your arms go. It's okay. We won't do anything you don't want to do. But have you ever been in love? Well, yeah. Like they think that's a stupid, well, yeah, of course. Well, that's a hypnotizable state. So the truth is, almost everybody can drop into that state. You have to feel comfortable with your hypnotherapist. You have to feel safe. And it's really that simple. It's misunderstood. It's a form of relaxation where the subconscious mind opens up, the critical mind just collapses, and you receive this valuable information. And each session is different, as I usually devise a little plan to meet a person's goals. So I hope that's helpful to you. And then you can also go and read a little bit more at www.carriefreeman.com. I will be back with more politics. Emily signed the papers. That transition is moving. President-elect Joe Biden has just been on television announcing his cabinet. It's extraordinary. It's so exciting to hear professionalism and care come back into politics. It's a wonderful day. And I will be back. So have a good few days. And I hope this was helpful. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.